Hi guys, welcome back to another reaction video and thoughts here on Our Eyes Your Eyes. I'm ready to watch episode 8 of this second season of Vinland Saga. But before starting this video, I just want to remind you to subscribe to the channel, click on the notification bell if you'd like to support me, feel free to join me in this super amazing adventure. Okay, in the previous episode we saw Ketil's environment, let's say everything from his point of view. That was really interesting. Again, I wanted to say this, sorry for the previous episodes because you saw my face a little bit blurred, but it was because of the autofocus. Now I think that I managed it, so fingers crossed. Anyway, are you ready to join me with these? Check it out. I can't see. These are the kids, right? I know that's him. Is that him? Huh? Oh, that's Einar, okay, when he was a... That's his self his years before. If he tries to stop it, it means it's already something great. That's another nightmare that he's having. But it's good because it means that he wants to protect Einar. And now that's the Thorfinn of now. Yeah. Because your consciousness wants you to remember who you were. No, don't be attracted by all these arms. No, they try to dig you down. No. No. But in this case, the protagonist of the nightmare was Einar. No, you should tell him what you were dreaming. Okay. Ooh. Ooh. If you knew. Oh, we finally remember Ascelado. Little by little, Thorfinn, take your time. Exactly. What you lived so far, it's so important and you shouldn't forget. Oh, don't do anything to Einar, huh? Because the slaves are good in doing these kind of things. Better than you for sure. No, no, you'll see how it would be better instead. He's opening his heart up. I'm happy for that. No. Yeah, that could be true too. Vinland. Yes, your father's dream. Or what Ashelado said. That means go to Vinland. And yes, okay. No, you're not. No, you are not. That this is true, but you're not alone anymore now. No, you know something except for Battlefield. No, it's not true. You're not empty, Thorfinn. You have your mom, you have your sister, you have a Vinland to reach. But I like these moments of this courage that he has. Because he is thinking. And he is taking his time to think. I mean, everything is still right now, so he can think. Try again. Try. Try again, Thorfinn. Try. Yes. Yes, life gives you lots of opportunity. You can retry. You can. You can. No, it makes me emotional, these kind of things. Sure. If they want, sure. Exactly. But the attitude is the right one. Huh? No, in fact, no, in fact, your eyes are so beautiful now. It's like as if they are cleaned out from. Yes, yeah, yeah. They are cleaned out from all the dirty stuff he did before. Like the dream, Thorfinn. What's wrong? What's wrong? Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Please. And now he will feel angry. Now, look. Oh no. Yes. Yeah. Because they are against him. They don't want Einar around. Why always good people have to pay for all these? Oh my, go with him. The Thorfinn, now it's your time to calm him down, yes. They don't know the joy of a cultivated. Oh my. Yeah, because he was one of those. It's not the same at Orphan, even if I understand what you mean. You know how it's hard to. No, no, but we know. I know, Einar, that you're not satisfied with this, but. Mm, in all meanings, don't lose hope. Arnheid. No. Oh my, he knows. Oh. Oh no, now look, I don't know if we can stop Einar now. Um, No, no, you know, you know. Mm. Oh. Ooh. Torvin. Ooh. Oh, look. Oh. Oh. No, don't do it again. This time Einar did it, alright? Oh! Oh, I'm afraid. I hope nothing happens to Einar. I don't want Thorfinn to lose Einar too, huh? No, 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 no. That woman of the season 1. No, wait. Wait, why that woman is appearing every time we talk about Einar? You have no enemies, maybe? Or that a real warrior doesn't need a sword? Oh no. No, I thought of something else later I'm going to explain. This episode was really incredible, and we start seeing things that we needed to see, fortunately and finally. This episode is pretty intense because, on one hand, we see Thorfinn's path and how it's going on, and on the other side, we see Einar's path and to see how it's going on. But let's say that most of the episode focuses on Thorfinn. When he's having that nightmare in which he sees clearly the little Einar and his own self of before trying to catch him or kill him, whatever, he is saying, no, wait, wait. This makes you understand that Thorfinn already changed, actually, but he has to admit it to himself. He has to understand it, process it, and then move on. Move on, I think it will require lots of time, but the fact that he already wants the whole self to stop from harming the little Einar, that's already a great step forward, because it makes you understand that Thorfinn now is using reason and he is thinking about what he was doing and the fact that what he was doing was wrong. So the fact that he already has an opinion about what he's doing and the fact that he knows that that's wrong is the starting point of a change. That's already a way in which he is reacting. But he was reacting always in dreams, always in these nightmares, in which he couldn't do anything rather than live those nightmares passively. He couldn't even react. While in reality, he still needs to show us this change. Somehow, We noticed it in this episode, and clearly we will analyze it later. But what I want to say is that Thorfinn is on the good path right now. I mean, he is doing the right things, fortunately and finally. And I think that it requires a little bit of time, more time than what we expect, but it's worth it. I mean, as I told you, these kind of things can't be done in few episodes, in few seconds. It's impossible in the reality too. And this evolution takes time. He needs to be born again. Finally, Thorfinn is opening his heart to Einar, and I was waiting for this moment coming because this makes you understand that Thorfinn is trusting Einar, and that's why he's opening his heart by expressing his feelings or by trying to clear his mind about what happened in the past, because the more you say it out loud, the more you're helping yourself to process what happened. And the fact that he chose Einar, that's really good, because this is already a fact that they are good friends, and he is acknowledging Einar as a good friend. This is already something great. When he's talking about his father and even Askeladd, these two men who were super important in his life, one for a reason, one for another one, but anyway, they describe a period of Thorfinn's life that it's undeniable. You can't erase it. As much as Thorfinn wants, that he wants to forget, no, it's impossible to forget. You shouldn't forget. Because if you forget, you will never have the ability to change. In order to change, you have to go back in the past, remember what happened, process all these that happened, and then understand what things should be different in order for you to change. I understand all these psychology of Thorfinn that we are clearly seeing in this episode, the confusion, the fragility, this way in which he is humble to describe how he feels and what happened, the way in which he's describing the narration that he's narrating in such a peaceful way. I mean, he is no more what he was before, because in the past Thorfinn would have had such an aggressive tone of voice. He would have been so rude to Einar, but in this case he is really smooth and he's really quiet when he's saying, Askeladd killed my father. I worked for him for 11 years. I mean, the way in which he's explaining things already makes you understand that he's referring to something that happened in the past, something that Thorfinn cut ties with somehow. Otherwise, he would have always reacted with the same tone of a voice, with the same aggressivity, with the same cruel words that he was using typically, or with these eyes full of anger. But in this case, the eyes were totally different. So it makes you understand that the more time is going ahead, the more you process what happened to you before in a different way. And this is the clearest example. But then what I liked is that he wanted to confess everything to Einar. Not in details, but he tried his best, because maybe by talking about these, he can really have a chance to remember his nightmares. They are still not visible into his conscious mind, so we need to wait until everything clarifies in front of his eyes, and I can't wait for that. But in the meantime, this way of being confused makes me understand how human Thorfinn is, and the way in which he is so sad, but at the same time he is perfectly aware of what happened, and the combination of these two feelings makes the character be human. I really appreciated the moment in which he stopped working because he was thinking. So Ketil's father came and said, "Oh, you have to work. Come on, come on." But I really like even the moment in which he's questioning himself about if it's possible to change or not, if it's possible to be reborn or not, if he can create something totally different than before. And if Einar was not there telling him, yes, you can change, Thorfinn. I mean, if he didn't have anybody trying to answer his questions, probably things would have been different. And I'm pretty sure that Thorfinn is already changed, and he just have to admit it to himself. That's it. But I really believe that there is already a huge difference between the past and now. This is already evident, you know, and I appreciated the fact that Einar was there trying to understand without intruding too much. I mean, he was respecting what Thorfinn was saying without asking him more details, without asking him to be more specific. No, he understood, even if it was just a big picture of all the trauma he got, but he didn't want to dig too much inside his heart because Thorfinn is not ready yet. He's starting this process, but it takes delicacy. I mean, the fact that Einar is a huge man because he's really big, but the sensitivity that he has in his heart to approach him is really, really beautiful. I like this character, absolutely. I felt emotional when Thorfinn was explaining what happened because, as I told you, he has never said it so peacefully like in this episode. He is trying to step on each trauma he survived. The huge difference between the young boy who was having these eyes as if he was a beast. Do you remember in season 1, Askeladd's men, they are describing Thorfinn's eyes as the eyes of a beast. Those eyes are gone, and I can clearly see Thorfinn as a young man who has these beautiful eyes, that they are wide open and they seem to be so innocent compared to what he was before. So I felt emotional because of this, but also because of the fact that he could see Askeladd in the woods. That makes me feel emotional because no matter how Askeladd was cruel in all he was doing, at the end of the day, Thorfinn needed even that character to face the loss of his father. I mean, in order to be more mature than before, Thorfinn needed even Askeladd in his life. Not only because of how violent he was, and even the fact that he was instructing Thorfinn to be violent towards others, and to use him in battlefields when he was requested, but you also remember Askeladd's background story. You know perfectly from season 1 that even Askeladd was influenced by the environment that he saw. And even Askeladd reminds me of the young Thorfinn. I already talked to you about this in the Vinland Saga season 1 analysis, but Askeladd could see Thorfinn like him when he was young. But the difference is that when he's about to die, Askeladd is suggesting Thorfinn to do something different than what he did. I mean, what Askeladd is telling Thorfinn is to not repeat his same mistake. That means to stay violent and to not try to change things for better. In the case of Thorfinn, he has to change things for better because Askeladd saw a potential inside this young boy's heart, and he doesn't want that his loss is a waste. So I really agree when Askeladd was saying, go and be a true warrior, son of Thors. This is what Thorfinn is missing. He is definitely missing the moment in which Thors was telling him, look, Thorfinn, a true warrior, a real warrior, doesn't need swords. Or even the other important statement, you don't have enemies. No one has enemies. This is the iconic statement of Thors that even if he died in season 1 in the 4th episode or whatever, it's still essential. Thors is one of those characters that they are essential even if they die in the first episodes. You can't get rid of the figure of Thors, the character of Thors. Even if we saw him for a few episodes, that doesn't mean anything. The most important thing is the message, what that character was telling through his words. And what Thors said in few words makes this story already a masterpiece, if you think about it. And I think that that's the missing piece of the puzzle that Thorfinn needs to remember in order to have a complete change. But unconsciously speaking, this change is already being seen in this episode, in the moment in which Einar is losing control of himself and Thorfinn is trying to stop him. He's trying to warn him, look, you're not doing something good, it's better if you stop. And he was putting himself in between too to try to stop Einar. And let me tell you honestly, I understand Einar's point of view too, because he put all his energy into this project because his final goal is to be free, and he was struggling so hard to prepare these corpse fields so that he could sell these wheat later, and so that they can also be free, both of them, because I think Einar is not only thinking about himself, he is also thinking about Thorfinn, because they worked together all those months for nothing. The result is anger, because when you see that you struggled so hard and everything in front of you is destroyed, you feel empty. So I understand the title of this episode, because it refers not only to Thorfinn and his mind, his memories and his will to change, or his possibility to change, but it refers even to how empty Einar feels inside. So we see the collapse of both characters in different ways, because Einar lost this field full of crops, and at the same time he discovered that Arnhild, this woman that is the mistress of the master, the master feels something for her, so he already understands that he can't have the privilege to have her in his life. He even notices that probably Arnhild can't become free because she prefers to stay a slave as she is and to work for the master as for his mistress. So it's like as if Einar is surrounded by darkness right now, because everything that he is doing or he's seeing is wrong. There is no light at the end of the tunnel in this episode for him, because everything is wrong. The field is destroyed. He discovered that the woman he loves is not available, let's say. He sees that freedom goes far away from him, this concept of a freedom that he has. If he struggled before what happened in this episode, after this episode he's struggling double. So as you can see, he is completely discouraged, and in that moment when he is discouraged, Thorfinn is by his side. So This relationship is great because when someone of the two feels down, the other one is there waiting and to try to cheer him up, and the vice versa. So when I was saying that this friendship is essential, I still believe so, because both of them are helping each other to comfort each other and to stay on each of their sides when it's needed the most, and that's what's creating a good friendship. I think Einar in that moment needed Thorfinn so much, because only people who understand Einar in that moment can stay on his side, and vice versa. People who suffered a lot like Einar are the one who can really understand what Thorfinn is feeling, or at least to imagine what Thorfinn is feeling, with total respect and support. That is something that you shouldn't underestimate, or you shouldn't take it easy or take it for granted, because there are few people in the world who can appreciate us for what we are and who can respect us and our ideas. So I really admire this relationship, the way they combine feelings to stand still and keep trying. I really liked the moment in which Thorfinn could see Einar's eyes full of anger, and Thorfinn knows those eyes very well. And the fact that he tried to calm him down as best as he could, it's already a way for him to change. Because in the past, he would have said, okay, let's go and find these retainers and let's try to destroy their land, or let's kill them, okay? As soon as Einar said, let's kill them, Thorfinn made a face like, oh no. I mean, that's something I know for sure how to do this, but it's like as if he doesn't want to do it anymore. And in fact, we saw that he doesn't want to react anymore. And at a certain point, Einar is asking him, why are you not reacting? Don't you understand what's going on right now? Our freedom to be free men is dissolving in front of our eyes. Yeah, Thorfinn, I think he realized the problem. I mean, he realized that all of the cultivation was completely destroyed, but at the same time, he doesn't want to be involved into that state of mind anymore, because he knows where he is coming from, and he definitely doesn't want that Einar joins that state of mind. So the way in which he was protecting him, he was even punching these men instead of Einar, yeah, that's pure protection. Definitely, I think Thorfinn doesn't want him to join that environment, because do you remember in season 1 it was said, as soon as you start killing one person, then you don't have a problem to kill other 10, other 20, or other 100, right? So based on that memory, Thorfinn doesn't want that Einar does the same exact thing, because once he will punch that man, probably he will never stop and he will keep punching. I mean, he doesn't want to let Einar lose his kind personality and the way he is, because Einar is fine as he is and he doesn't need any sort of a change, okay? I agree with what Thorfinn did. I mean, he sacrificed himself by punching that man instead of Einar. But at the same time, as soon as he was punching that man, he was starting feeling these visions full of red tone of color. I mean, these representation of blood, constant blood that he saw in his life. And even the woman of that episode, yeah, I was surprised to see that woman of the episode in season 1 that she was trying to help Thorfinn at that time, because I thought that Einar just for a second, but I thought that Einar was John. I mean, it was her son. But then immediately after, I remember, look, Einar has a mom, had a sister, so no, it was impossible. But the fact that that woman appeared 2 times in that moment, I thought, oh wait a second. But then even Askeladd appeared again in his mind, so I definitely think that Askeladd is still an important person, a dear person to Thorfinn's life. I mean, I agree when Einar is saying, if you are still dreaming of him, it makes me understand that the ties with that person are not cut, are not over. And I agree. I don't think that he will forget about Askeladd. I don't think that he will, because he shouldn't forget him. Actually, he should remember him so he knows what he has to do. On the contrary, so even if Askeladd was a bad example in his life, at the end of the day, he needs to try to find the good side. The good side of remembering him instead of losing the memories about him. So it will be a constant presence in Thorfinn's life, even after. Even if one day he will reach Vinland, he will reach Vinland, even thanks to Askeladd. So I definitely think that all the people we are meeting in our life matter for something. They are there to tell us something about us, but even something about them. I really appreciated those scenes, to be honest with you. And that's why I really liked this episode, also because, yes, at the beginning Einar did what Thorfinn suggested. That means, okay, let's talk to Pator. Let's explain him so he will report everything to the master. And Thorfinn, by suggesting this, he's not using violence, so he is changing already. But at the same time, when he wanted to protect someone dear to him, to not march the same path that he marched for 11 years, he is punching the man instead of his friend. So Thorfinn, yes, he used this instinct, because instinctively speaking, he punched that man. But as soon as he punched that man, he saw what instinct can take you to. He saw that if you use instinct, you go back to blood everywhere. You go back to violence. You go back to a place where you don't think, where reason is the last option. So is it worth it? And in fact, immediately after, his eyes changed and he realized what he did. So there is this dualism inside of Thorfinn right now, this contrast that is necessary. I really believe that Thorfinn can be both. It can be both a reason and instinct, and we can't refrain ourselves from being instinctive in most of the times in our lives. But we don't have to forget that thinking before acting can take us to a better path, let's say. So he still needs to learn about these. But then things collapsed because Thorfinn regained, let's say, his consciousness of the moment, and he was punched. Einar saw that and he wanted to protect Thorfinn. So as you can see, at least we know that Thorfinn is not alone. Definitely has someone on his side. And what his father wanted to tell him was completely right. When Thorfinn will remember what Thors had to say, I will be sure that I will cry. Because you will see from Thorfinn's face the fact that he understood. Or he will say something that makes us understand, oh, okay, Thorfinn will never go back as before. Thorfinn is completely changed, and we can guarantee these by what he says. I can't wait for that moment because it will be pretty emotional, but even this episode was emotional. On the contrary, I feel Einar. I feel how painful he feels right now. But even in his case, he's not alone. For all the years in which he felt alone, because after he lost his mom and his sister, he became a slave, and every time he had to wait for a chance to be hired by someone as a slave anyway, but he was always wishing for freedom. And I really believe that Einar will join Thorfinn in Vinland because of the concept. I mean, the concept of Vinland is a land where you're free, where you don't feel cold, where you can cultivate lots of things. It's so peaceful. Ah, yes, I forgot to tell you this. In the previous episodes, when Thorfinn was looking at the panorama and it was all dark, do you remember? Suddenly he stops and he's checking this landscape in front of himself, and it's all dark because it's night time. Yeah, this reminded me that episode in which he was talking with Askeladd about the beginning and the end of an era when no one can last forever. Do you remember? And at the same time, that panorama when it was daylight was so beautiful that reminded him of something peaceful, right? In this second season, yes, it was night time, but when Thorfinn is looking around and everything is so peaceful, quietly represents his state of mind. So I really liked that scene too, but I forgot to tell you in the previous episode. But anyway, I want to say that Thorfinn is wrong when he says, I'm empty. There's nothing that, now that I don't hate Askeladd anymore and I don't have this revenge anymore, I feel empty. No, you're wrong. And I think that everything that he states here will be proven him wrong later, but it takes time. In the meantime, we can say that Thorfinn slightly changed, but we will see a full change maybe at the end of the season or in season 3. We don't know. I mean, I don't know. You know, but I'm late. But yeah, I really want to see how he will evolve. And I want to praise again Makoto Yukimura because with this episode, he touched so many subjects that it's really hard to compress them into a commentary like mine. The fragility of mind, the change, instinct versus reason, friendship, emptiness, these contrast, the inner contrast of ourselves, the way in which anger is the protagonist at a certain point of the episode when Einar can't contain this anger, but thanks to Thorfinn, he is trying to calm himself down. We know from the beginning of this season that for Einar, it was not easy to compress this anger inside his heart. I mean, it was always really tough to do so, and there were lots of chances in which he felt super angry, but something that is his reason helped him to calm himself down. In this episode, if it was not for Thorfinn, this anger would have exploded. As you can see, it's hard to compress our feelings and pretend that nothing happens, especially when you work hard on something. When he saw that everything was destroyed, he saw his life meaningless once again. So as you can see, it's always a cycle that it's repeating. Even in our real life, we think that we are empty, and then in a certain point something happens that makes our lives full, and then we feel discouraged. I mean, this is a mixture of feelings based on the circumstances of life. Thorfinn still has to experience that. Actually, he was quite happy, let's say, when he was a young boy. but then he discovered violence, and he lived 11 years of misfortune, of unluck, of violence, of emptiness. Actually, even if he says that he was not empty because he was full of these revengeful thoughts, at the same time he was feeling empty because of the loss of his dad. Let's see if he remembers what Thors wanted to tell him. And by the way, I wanted to praise Mappa Studio once again for the choice of colors, because I think that all these kind of things are pretty meaningful and really useful for the episode to convey the message that the mangaka wants to convey. So I really liked these dark tone of color, this red color that is immediate as soon as you start the episode, and even after, when Thorfinn is reacting instinctively to protect Einar. I really liked this episode. It's so introspective, and it digs inside the personality of the characters. That's the thing that I liked the most, sincerely. I mean, I've never expected Vinland to have this huge change, but I don't regret this at all. On the contrary, I love this because it's not having lots of actions, but at the same time the feelings are very well exposed, and yeah, I felt emotional. Yeah, if I can say another thing, is when we talk about these men who destroyed that crops field, bullying exists from the beginning of time. At this point we know this already, but to see how people wants to prevail on others based on jealousy, based on they see in other people something good that they don't have or they can't achieve. This is so clear in this episode. I mean, they wanted to target Einar because Einar is kind, Einar helped Thorfinn, Einar has this love for cultivation. Einar puts all his energy and the joy, as he said, into cultivation and into create this farm that can lead him or them to freedom. That when everything is destroyed, even Einar said, don't they understand the joy and the will of doing something like this? How much energy do we put in this? No, they don't, because it's something they don't have. They are jealous of these ability or this skill that you have, that they prefer to grab everything from you and throw it away. This envy that people feel when someone else is better than them, no matter if it's a slave or not, that's something ridiculous and something that I can't stand. Even the fact that these men are saying, oh, when slaves will become equal to us, the world will face chaos. No, actually, it's the opposite. I mean, the fact that we have a hierarchy, that's chaos. That's creating a problem. Because if all people would be equal and would have had the same possibilities, then you would have seen a great world. The problem is that there are people in the world who wanted to overcome others and who wanted to rule on others. And that's why I totally understand Einar's frustration and anger when he is discovering this, and he already knows who did this because of his sixth sense, okay? But yeah, I don't like to see when people try to push other people down just because they have good qualities, they have good skills. People, I mean, human beings are selfish and they are presumptuous enough sometimes to believe that they are better than others. Unfortunately, we can't change these from what we are, but we can condemn these, we can go against it, and we can say that we don't agree with these, at least. That's for sure. When envy is involved, but even jealousy, call it as you like, your mind is blurred. You don't see. It's like when Thorfinn couldn't see anything rather than getting a revenge. So when these negative feelings are imposing themselves on good ones, then the result is chaos. But I really hope that Thorfinn's path will reach a point in which the chaos will be disrupted and the peace of mind and the will to create, the will to do new things will emerge. Even when he was trying fishing, okay, and he said, oh, I can't do anything, I'm not good at anything, I don't know how to create a farm, I don't know how to cultivate things, I don't know anything. Ketil's father told him, look, you should work to discover these. I mean, you should keep working and try to do things one at a time, not all things together, because it's better if you focus on one thing and then you make it good instead of trying to focus on multiple things and not even doing one great, right? So Ketil's father is essential too as a character, because it's helping Thorfinn to understand that in order to do things greatly, you need time and you need a strong will. And I'm sure that little by little Thorfinn will be immersed into this environment, so he will be able to understand what he likes to do. Now it's still too early for him to realize that, but he's already making great steps forward. So let's see what's going to happen next with episode 9 of Vinland Saga season 2. In the meantime, feel free to subscribe to the channel and click on the notification bell. Bye guys, and see you in the next video. Thank you for the support. Bye.